Lynette and welcome. Today is D-Day. I am doing another eyeshadow palette declutter. I started off last year, 2022, with an eyeshadow palette declutter, and I'm going to start off 2023 with a declutter as well. I'm hoping this time I can just be a lot more honest with myself and a little more cutthroat and get rid of palettes that I know I no longer need to have in my collection. Let me apologize in advance. Hello. For the lighting, and hopefully everything will be in focus. I decided to film this declutter in the spaces where I keep my eyeshadow palettes, and that's two places, my bedroom and my studio. So we're starting off here in my bedroom with this cabinet right here. Yes, I know it is dirty with makeup. Please judge me in silence. Okay, well, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. Today is declutter. Tomorrow will be clean. Okay, we'll be cleaning, okay? All right, so I'm going to start off. This is a cabinet, and I used to have, all the drawers used to be dedicated to makeup. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7th drawer is really, really deep, which you can't see. It used to be, the whole thing used to be full of makeup, but as I've decluttered over the years, you know, fewer drawers have makeup in them, or at least have, don't have eyeshadow palettes in them. So let's get started with this drawer. And again, this is not going to be an eyeshadow palette collection. This is going to be exclusively about decluttering palettes. If you want to see my collection, you can watch my video from last year where I showed you every palette in my collection. All right, we're going to start off with this drawer and we'll see how this filming goes. But this cabinet is predominantly, actually I think it's all, in terms of eyeshadow palettes, my makeup museum. They are palettes that are old, that I no longer use. They're vintage palettes, and I decided to keep them last year for whatever reason, nostalgia, sentimentality, packaging, whatever it was, I decided to keep them. But this year I really need to be more realistic with myself and get rid of stuff. So that's the plan today. So I'm going to start off with this Lurella Night Thinking palette. I bought 2 palettes from Lurella. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and I did use this palette, and it's a nice palette. I love purples and teals together, and the formula was nice. I like the look that I did with it, but you know, if I'm being honest with myself, I haven't reached for it since I used it the first time, and I don't think I'm going to use it again. So she's gonna go. This palette, this is gonna be hard. Okay, this is gonna hurt. This cabinet is gonna hurt. Sorry for the glare. This is the Urban Decay Elements palette. This was, I believe this was a holiday release. I can't tell you what year it was. This is what it looks like. The pans are really small, which I don't like, but the shadows are good. The formula is nice. And I kept it really for the packaging, which is gorgeous. But I haven't used this palette since I used it the one time for a video. So she's going. Next up, from Alien Cosmetics, they are now Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the Serendipity palette. I think this was a collab. Anywho, I have been wanting this palette, been wanting it, finally got it, used it, didn't like it. And, and yeah, so I'm getting rid of it. Alright, this is the Comfort Zone palette from CoverGirl. I bought this late in the game because I had, you know, it's an OG palette so many people loved back in the day. So I purchased it and I swatched it and swatched it, but have yet to use it, so I'm going to let it go. My ColourPop Perception palette, this was their collaboration with Makeup Shayla, and I kept it because the packaging is beautiful and it's a nice palette. It's a really nice palette, but it's very old and I don't use it anymore, so I'm ready to let it go. And then here we have the Pretty Poison palette. This Bad Habit, before they went out of business. This was one of their, I think this was their first original palette. They did a lot of dupe palettes. And yeah, really, really pretty. The formula was nice too. A little powdery, but really nice. I used it the one time and I never used it again, so she can go. Packaging was really nice too. This is a Cara beauty palette. You see these a lot at TJ Maxx, this brand. My girl Monique sent this to me, and I had never tried Cara before. This is a Cara Duo. This is the You Had Me at Aloha palette, and I never used it. It came, the mirror came shattered, and the palette is really pretty. Really pretty. She sent me 2 palettes, which you'll see the other one later. I did use the other one. This one I never did use, and it's really pretty, but I know I'm not going to use it if I haven't already, so I'm not quite sure what to do with it because the mirror is broken. I feel uncomfortable trying to give it to anybody, but I'm decluttering it. Okay, next up is the Hasina 2 palette from Blush Tribe. They are no longer in existence. I love the packaging and the palette is really pretty. I did use it. It didn't knock my socks off though, and I don't use it, so I'm getting rid of it. And then, oh god, this is gonna hurt. Urban Decay. I have 2 of the Vice palettes. This is the Vice 2. The packaging is so beautiful. And those are the shades. A mostly shimmer palette, and I don't know, it's pretty basic. I mean, this was really, really early in my makeup journey, and I never used it really then, and I certainly don't use it now, so I don't need to hang on to it any longer. And then my other Vice palette, this is the Vice 3. And if I was going to keep either one, it would be this one, but I don't use it. I don't think I ever really used it. It looks like I did use it at one point, but I haven't in years, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Oh. And then last but not least in this drawer, my Kat Von D palettes. So when I was thinking about doing this, I was contemplating doing this video, I was planning to get rid of all of these palettes. This is the Monarch palette, which they don't have names on them for some reason. I just remember that's what it's called. And I was planning to get rid of this palette, but before I started the video, I swatched it, looked at it, and decided I'm going to keep it for a little longer. This is the Chrysalis palette. I mean, the Kat Von D packaging was just so, the aesthetic was just so good, so good. But yeah, I might have used this palette once, and yeah, I'm not going to use it anymore, so this one can go. And then the original Shade and Light palette. Really, really pretty. A really just basic neutral palette, which is fine. Everyone needs some basic neutrals in their collection. I never really used this, but I've used it a few times, but I never really got into it that much. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. Alright, so we did really well. We only have 1 palette left in this drawer. Excellent! On to drawer number 2. Alright, we're in drawer number 2. I'm sorry if I'm crooked. The way I have this camera set up, you don't even want to know. So, okay, so more Kat Von D palettes. This is the Metal Matte palette, and I had planned on getting rid of this too before I started this declutter. And I'm pretty sure the matte shades the formula is not very good anymore, because this is a really old palette, but I'm not ready to let it go yet, or the shimmers, so I'm gonna hold on to her a little while longer. And mainly for the packaging, I'm not gonna lie. And another Kat Von D palette I will be keeping is the Saint and Sinner palette. This palette I have used more recently than all the others, and there are some nice shades in this palette, so I will be keeping this one. And I just love the packaging too, very different, so yeah, I'll be keeping that one. The Pastel Goth palette, however, I never liked this palette. I love the look of it. I love the idea of it, but these shades just didn't work for me, so it's about time for me to let it go. Makeup Forever. This is, I don't know, do these have names on them? The palette 9 Artist Shadow. Okay, it doesn't really have any name on it, but yeah, they don't make these anymore. Does Makeup Forever make eyeshadows anymore? I don't know. A nice cool tone neutral palette, but I came to find that I really don't like the Makeup Forever shimmer formula. I think they're all hard pan. Like as soon as I use them, they all went hard pan. So she can go. Another one of the 9 pan palettes. This one was more colorful. And yeah, you see the hard pan and the shimmer is like, so she can go. Lime Crime Venus palette. I really enjoyed this palette, but I haven't used it in years, so she can go. And another Kat Von D palette. I think these are all my Kat Von D palettes at this point. I don't know. Is this the Star palette? This is the Star Studded eyeshadow book. I never used it for the longest time. I forgot I even had it. I never used this this palette, and I'm not going to. So time to go. And then this is the Dark Star palette, the Mothership Subliminal. This was one of the original 6-pan palettes she did for holiday release. And I got it, and one of the shades was Shattered, which you will see it's no longer even in there, this one. So they sent me another one, and I kind of just kept this one around as a backup, because I really do like this palette. So I'm going to hang on to it. So yeah, all right, we are on a roll. Down to drawer number 3. All right, this is the last drawer of eyeshadow palettes in this cabinet. And a lot of these are singles, and I'm not going to deal with the singles today. So all of these palettes are single shadows, MAC, Makeup Geek, mostly some ColourPop. We're not going to deal with that. The Too Faced original chocolate bar palette still smells like chocolate. I used to love this palette. This was early in my makeup journey, and I used the hell out of this palette. I did, and this is gonna hurt, but it's time to go. I was definitely keeping this for nostalgia purposes, but she can go now. She doesn't even clip down anymore. So, bye boo. She served me well. Another Makeup Forever palette. This one is the palette 15 Artist Shadow. Love the packaging. It's so pretty. And this is what this palette looks like. Again, don't like the shimmer formula, and they don't age well. The shimmers definitely didn't age well, so she can go. I was keeping it for the packaging, but she can go. And then this palette here is a palette of singles that I'm not going to go through today. The last palette, pre-made palette in this drawer is the Naked 3 from Urban Decay. I think I'm the only person in the world that liked this palette. I used it a few years ago, and surprisingly the formula was still good, and I liked the look I created. It's very cool tone. This is what I liked about it. Cool tone mauve palette. But I feel like I have other palettes I can achieve similar looks with, so this hurts, but I'm ready to let you go. Thank you for your service. And that is it for this cabinet. And so these are the palettes that have are being decluttered from round 1. So pretty good, pretty good. On to the next. Okay, so now we're in my studio. I did want to show you where I keep my makeup in my studio. This is the dresser you see behind me in all my videos. And I bought this dresser because I needed more eyeshadow palette storage. Yeah, crazy, I know. So half the dresser is dedicated. It's six drawers. Half of it is dedicated to makeup, and 2 drawers, these top 2 drawers are dedicated to makeup, and the last drawer is like wigs and stuff that I keep buying and don't wear. But so we're going to go into these 2 drawers here. Or at least I'm going to try, and we're going to start decluttering there. Okay, so this is drawer number 1, and so these are my makeup backups, makeup and beauty supply backups right here, these 3 bins, and then the rest of these bins are eyeshadow. So this is my Pat McGrath bin, and I won't be decluttering anything from there today. What is this? Oh, this is one of my little quints that I just bought. So I won't be decluttering anything from this bin today. Also, Pat McGrath bin, won't be decluttering anything from there today. But this is my Juvia's Place bin. I do have a couple of other Juvia's Place in the next drawer, which you'll see. So we're going to start here, and the Warrior 3. If you follow me here, this will be no surprise. So I am going to, the plan is to depot these 3 shadows right here, and then I'm going to get rid of this palette. And then the Nubian, the very first palette from Juvia's Place, you can see how filthy it is, that it has been much loved. It's a great neutral palette. I really love it, but I haven't used it in a long time, and so I think I'm going to let it go finally. And if I decide that I miss it and I want to repurchase it, I'll just do that. So, but right now I'm going to let it go. Oh, the Saharan palette. I really like this palette. I did one of my most favorite looks ever with this palette. Actually, just about every palette in this bin I have done a tutorial on. I do have a Juvia's Place tutorial playlist if you're interested in seeing any of the looks I created with these palettes. This Sokoto is my favorite shade, and probably the reason why I've kept this palette for as long as I have. But I feel like I have maybe if not the exact shade, maybe a similar shade in other palettes. Definitely in, I think, the last Pat McGrath palette, Holiday Mega palette I bought. So, I'm gonna let it go. And yeah, that's it for the Juvia's Place. The Saharan 2. Do I want to get rid of this? I don't think so. No, I do not want to get rid of this. So yeah, that is going to be it for the Juvia's Place bin. And that's going to be it for this drawer. Okay, so this is drawer number 2. And these are, this drawer is all eyeshadow palettes. Okay, I've decided to start with the bins in the front. This is my Anastasia Beverly Hills drawer, and yeah, some other palettes. So let's start with Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Master Palette by Mario, and yeah, it's long overdue for me to get rid of that palette, so she can go. And then we have the Subculture palette, a palette that I used once and really hated the formula, and I planned on using it again, but at this point I have other grungy palettes, so I don't feel like I need to hang on to this anymore, so she's gone. And then the Riviera palette, I feel like, well, the Riviera palette, I know I should let go. But then I see the shimmers, and I think I used this once in a video and said I was going to come back and try it again. But if I get rid of it, will I really miss this palette in my collection? I really won't, because I never use it. So yeah, I'm going to let it go. And then Jackie Aina I'm keeping. Sultry I'm keeping, even though I still haven't used it. I'm keeping that. The Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette, I could smell the chocolate from here. This is a palette I lusted after for a long time. I waited like, I think, a year to finally buy it on sale. And I've never really used it, and so I don't think I ever will. So this one hurts, but I'm gonna let her go. Oh, that hurt. The Papaya palette I'm keeping. These are my Glam Shop palettes, and I'm only keeping these for the shimmers. Otherwise, I will let those go too. Okay, on to my ColourPop palettes. As you'll see, I have palettes everywhere in this room. But these are the ones in the drawer. This is the I Love Sarah Yee Saucy palette. This was a collaboration they did with Sarah Yee on YouTube. I don't even know if she's still on YouTube or not. And I'm gonna keep it. I really like the color story, and I did use the palette and I liked it, so I'm gonna hang on to it a little longer, even though it's really, really old. And then here's the Yes Please palette, ColourPop's very first eyeshadow palette, and I really liked this palette, and I did use it. It got some good use, but it's really old and I haven't used it in a really long time, and I never thought I'd ever actually declutter it, but she's getting decluttered today. And then I have some of these monochromatic palettes that I think I'm ready to let go of, at least a couple of them anyway. I'm sorry, I'm holding my camera in one hand, so that's why I'm fumbling. But this is the Main Squeeze palette, and it's kind of a red palette, and I don't really like red eyeshadow on me, but I did like this palette. One of these shades, I think, is it this one? Is really gorgeous. But I do like the idea of just having a monochromatic red palette, so I'm going to keep this one. But these two, I'm going to let go. So this is the It's My Pleasure palette. Really pretty purple and pink palette, but I haven't used it in a million years, so it can go. And then the Ooh La La palette, a really pretty pink palette, and the formula was good in all of these palettes, but I haven't used it in forever. And if I want to do a pink look, I have plenty of other palettes. I have Juvia's Place, BH Cosmetics. I have plenty of other palettes with pink that I can do a look with, so I'm going to get rid of this one. And that's going to be it for the ColourPop drawer. And let's put this one back. And then this is my my Sigma palettes and my Melt Cosmetics palettes. I believe these are 2 stacks here. She's in the blueprint stack, the gunmetal stacks. I'll be keeping those. I'm going to use the gunmetal stack one more time and then decide if I'm going to declutter it or not. And I won't be decluttering anything from this bin. Okay, so I have moved these bins from the back to the front so you can get a better look at them. And these are hodgepodge of palettes. These are the Paradise collection from Ace Beauté. And there are two palettes here that I don't really use. So this one is the Blossom Passion palette. And I used that one. I used it once and the look was okay, but you know what? I can let that one go. And then this is the, what is this? The Slice of Paradise palette. And this is, of the four, this is the only one I have never used. And I don't think I'm going to. So I'm gonna let this one go finally. Yeah, I never wanted to break up the family. I have an issue about that. I have a thing about that. When I have multiple palettes in a collection, I don't want to break them up. But all right, those two, it's time for those two to go. And then I have, this was also from Bad Habit. This was a, the ABH Subculture dupe. And I don't know if I ever used it. She Can Go. Oh man, this is gonna hurt. These are my Lorac Pro palettes. This is the original palette, and as you will see, she got a lot of love. This is the best brown I think a matte brown shade I've ever used. I think it's just like the perfect shade of brown. And yeah, this palette, as you can see, got a lot of love. This is a great black too. The Lorac formula is just a really good formula, but I haven't used this in years, and I was just holding on to it for nostalgia reasons, but I'm going to let her go today. And then this is the Lorac Pro 2. Is this the 2 or the 3? This is the 2. I think this is the 2. Yeah, this is the Pro 2. Cool tone palette, which of course appealed to me. That blue is gorgeous. This jade color, this cool gray. Like, the whole palette is nice. I really enjoyed this palette as well. But I haven't picked it up in years, so this is gonna hurt. But I'm gonna let her go too. And then from Pinky Rose, the Exotic Peacock. I bought this at IMATS, I think in 2018. And never knew what to do with it. Finally forced myself to use it. Did an absolutely beautiful look that I absolutely loved. And haven't picked it up since. So I think I'm going to go ahead and let her go. But really nice formula. I was very pleasantly surprised at that. This is the Face Candy Atlantis palette. I don't know if the Face Candy is even still around. Nice packaging, nice palette, nice formula too. I recently used this, I think last year, year before last, and I didn't feel like the quality was as good, so I think I'm ready to go, let it go now. I wasn't ready to let it go in my last declutter, but I'm ready to let her go. Today, my BH Cosmetics palettes. These are two that I've used. I've still got two others that I haven't used yet that you'll see later. And then this is the Oceanic palette. If you've watched any of my recent videos, you'll know that I repurchased this in the new formula, but I'm going to keep this one for now. This is the Ace Beauté Flare palette. This is a palette. I don't know why I ever bought it. I could never get down with the color story. I used it once, didn't love it, and I'm ready to let it go now. This is another one I didn't want to break up the family, but yeah, I'm ready to break it up. Ooh, the Christian Leanne collab with Urban Decay. I really like this palette. People hated it because of the layout, but that doesn't bother me. I've really been holding onto it for the packaging and for these two shades right here because they are gorgeous. Oh, and this one, this is a duochrome. But yeah, I think I'm ready to let it go. I think I am ready to let her go. Beautiful, beautiful, but I don't think I will miss it. And then I have two palettes from LA Girl. This is the Desert Dream palette. And I like both of these palettes. I like the packaging. Oh God, am I going to be able to get this open? I like the packaging. I like the color story. I like the formula. I'm pretty sure I did a look with this palette. Yeah, I did on my channel. And I like the look I created. And I've been holding on to it because it's a good palette, but I don't use it. And I have these shades elsewhere, so I'm gonna let it go. I am seriously being cutthroat today, I really am. This is the Hot Heat palette, also from Ellie Girl. And same thing. I really like these shades right here. Yeah, same thing. Beautiful. This shade right here is gorgeous. Yeah, I like it. Nice palette, nice formula, but I'm gonna let it go. Let it go. This is the Slush palette from September Rose. Love the packaging. And I feel like this was my first, like, I don't know, my first, like, real rainbow palette. Really pretty. I did a look with it on my channel, and it was kind of hit and miss. Really pretty palette. Love the packaging. But I have the Blend Bunny Blends palette now, and I've got quite a few rainbow palettes now with a formula that's much better than this one, so I'm going to finally let it go. And then the other Kara Beauty palette that my friend Monique sent me. This one I did use. This is, what is this? This is the Havana Club. This one I did use, and I was really, really surprised at how nice the formula is. But yeah, I haven't reached for it again since, and I don't think I will. So it hurts me. It does hurt me because it's really, really nice palette, but I'm gonna let it go. Now we're at the part of the video where my audio cut out and I didn't realize it. So the rest of this video is going to be voiceover 2023, really getting off to a great start. But here we are with another LA Girl palette. This is a smaller 9-pan palette. It's a smoky palette, really nice. I did do a look with this before. Again, I really like the formula, but I don't think, I haven't used that palette since I did the look, so I'm going to get rid of it. And now I have two palettes from Flower Beauty, the Jungle Lights palette and the Desert Lights palette. And the Desert Lights palette I bought after the Jungle Lights palette, as a matter of fact. And I did use the Desert Lights, and I was pretty underwhelmed with the shimmers. They're both all shimmer palettes, and yeah, it's really pretty, but yeah, I'm gonna let that one go. And then the Jungle Lights palette I haven't used, but it swatches so beautifully. These metallics are so foiled, so I'm gonna hold on to this a little longer, and hopefully I'll finally get around to using it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this one. And this is from Makeup Geek, the Vegas Lights palette, and I got a lot of good use out of this palette. Never thought I would declutter it. It's so beautiful, but I'm ready to let it go. So, bye. And now, up next is the Pretty Rebel palette from Too Faced. Another palette in my makeup museum that I never thought I would get rid of because of that brown blue shade, but everyone makes that shade now, so I'm decluttering it. And then this is my Lorac unzipped palette, and I love this palette. Got a lot of use out of it, and I love the Lorac formula, and I'm not ready to part with it, so I'm going to keep that one. And this is the Eyes Cream palette from Dose of Colors. Really pretty palette. Only used it once, and yeah, just doesn't do anything for me. So finally gonna let that one go. Finally. And from Give Me Glow, I have two palettes from them. The Vintage Rose palette, really pretty, rosy, pink, green palette. Really like that one, so I'm going to hang on to this one. And then this is the Cobra palette. That's from Clarity Cosmetics and gorgeous. So yeah, I'll be keeping that one for sure. And then the other one from Give Me Glow is the Christmas Morning palette. And it's gorgeous, really, really pretty, but I don't know, something about this color story, I just can't get into it. I mean, yeah, I did use it a couple of times, and yeah, nothing wrong with this palette, but I just don't ever use it. I don't ever reach for it, so I'm finally gonna part with it. Can't believe I'm letting it go, but I'm letting it go. And then more Give Me Glow. This is the Grunge palette. This one has been discontinued. I probably should get rid of this one, but I'm not ready to yet. The shimmers are really pretty, unique color stories, so I'm gonna hold on to that one for a little while longer. And this is the I think there's a Spicy palette. I think this one is discontinued too, and it's a lot of orangey red tones in it. Really spicy, really warm, really pretty. And yeah, I'm gonna keep this one too. And from Profusion, this is the Confidence palette. And wow, I really, really like this palette. I really enjoyed this palette. When I first bought it, I don't even know how long ago, I just couldn't put it down. I had to force myself to use other palettes. It's getting washed out here by my lights because the colors are actually deeper. And that top row there is grungy, got some grungy greens up there. And it's just really pretty. And I was planning to declutter this palette, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't, yeah, I didn't, yeah, that's a little better representation of what it really looks like. I think I'm gonna keep this palette. I mean, I'm not ready to let it go. Nope, not yet. I've gotten rid of quite a few already, so I'm gonna keep that one for a little while longer. All right, we are to the last bin in this drawer, and I have two palettes here from Beauty Bay, 9 pan palettes, the Fiery palette and the Nude palette. And, oh no, these are not 9 pan, these are 12 pan? No, 16 pan palettes. And this is a cool neutral palette that I think I got for like $7 or $4 or something crazy. That's why I bought it. It was on sale. And I was planning to declutter this palette, but now I'm not sure. So let's look at the Fiery palette. Also a 16 pan palette from Beauty Bay. I bought them at the same time. And this is another neutral palette, but this is a very warm neutrals. I did use this palette also. The formula is nice. I like the Beauty Bay formula. It's nice in both of the palettes, but I have these shades in other palettes in my collection, and I'm going to get rid of that one because I don't really, yeah, I don't need it. This one is a little more cool toned, and this one I do think I'm going to keep. Between the two, I like having an all neutral palette, so I'm going to keep the cool tone nude palette, and I'm going to get rid of the Fiery palette. And then I have 3 palettes from Kaleidos, and these are the Futurism palettes. I think this is the Futurism 1 palette, the green palette. Really, really pretty, but I've never even used this palette. Swatched it, never used it, and don't think I'm going to. So I'm going to get rid of that one. And then I can't tell what this one is. It's another one, a Futurism palette. I can't tell you which one, but this one is the turquoise and orange one. And I did use this one, and I was underwhelmed by this palette. So I'm going to get rid of this one as well. And then the last one, I can't tell you the number of this one either. Something to neon, VR neon or something. And this is the more colorful palette. I used this one also. Formula in this one wasn't bad. The shimmers are better than the mattes, but I haven't used it since. And I'm not going to, so I'm just going to get rid of all 3 of them. And this is the Nubian 2 palette from Juvia's Place, and really pretty palette. There's some shades in here that are absolutely gorgeous, those metallics, but I'm going to get rid of it. I wasn't planning to, but I'm going to. And this is the Zuri palette. I bought this years ago. I used it once. I did a tutorial with it, and I haven't reached for it since then. It's a really pretty palette. The formula, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the formula. Pretty colors, very warm. But yeah, I haven't reached for it since I used it that one time. So I'm ready to let this one go. And this is my Playing in Makeup by Yolanda Jamrock palette. Not getting rid of that. This is the Magic palette from Juvia's Place. Definitely not getting rid of that. These are my two Zodiac palettes from BH Cosmetics. I picked these up from TJ Maxx last year. This is the original Zodiac palette. So pretty. Formula is really nice. I used it the one time. And I'm going to keep this palette. It's so, like, look how gorgeous it is. And then this is the Zodiac 2 palette. Another beautiful, gorgeous palette, but warm tone. I don't know what it is about the color story, but I knew I shouldn't have bought it when I got it. I think I paid $8 for it. That's why I got it. But I'm going to get rid of that one. So I'm going to keep the original, and I'm going to get rid of the Zodiac 2. That's the Equalizer 2 palette from Sample Beauty. Really nice palette, keeping that. And this is Martine Cosmetics, the 669 palette. That's not going anywhere. This is the Cool Summer palette from It's Belle Cosmetics. The brand sent me this palette to try. And I love the packaging, really pretty. And it's a nice palette. The color story is really pretty. Very summer vibes in this color story. The metallics are nice. I did a video with this palette, and the formula is just fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I haven't reached for it since I tried it, used it the one time. And I don't think I'm going to be reaching for it again. So I'm going to get rid of it. I have a friend who's interested in this palette. So I'm going to just pass it along to her. And I hope she'll put it to more use than I did. And this is what the drawer is looking like now. I got some great space in these two bins right here. Cleared out quite a few palettes. Cleared out some palettes in that ColourPop bin right there. And also in my big palette bin back there. No changes in this one, but overall did pretty well. And these are the palettes that I've decluttered from the two drawers in the dresser, and I'm pretty impressed. The next place I store eyeshadow palettes in my studio is my desk where I sit. Half of the desk is dedicated to makeup. So the first drawer is full of samples. The second drawer are my eyelashes. The third and fourth drawers contain eyeshadow palettes. And then the fifth drawer is miscellaneous stuff. We're going to start off with the Carnival palettes. I have 3 of them. 2 of them are here in the drawer. Yes, let me add my Antidote palette. And these are not going anywhere, of course. And then I have a bin of like miscellaneous palettes. And then I have some loose palettes here. Now these first palettes in the front, let's start with these. Well, this is the Codon palette from Adept Cosmetics, so of course I'm keeping that. And then this is a palette of singles. I believe these are from Divina Cosmetics, and I will of course be keeping those. And this is another palette of singles. Those are from Clionadh. Of course I'll be keeping those. And then behind those palettes I do have 2 from Sydney Grace and Temptalia collaboration, and those aren't going anywhere. And then my Adept Cosmetics palettes. And oh, this is from Colored Rain. This is the Queen of Hearts palette. And yeah, I haven't used this in a really long time. I completely forgot about this palette. It's beautiful, nice formula, but I'm gonna declutter it. I don't even believe it. But yeah, I think I'm ready to get rid of that palette. Wow. Okay, and now to this bin of just a lot of miscellaneous. This is a palette of singles, mostly from Inglot Cosmetics, and then I do have a Sugar Pill palette full of singles back there. This one, yeah, Sugar Pill. Of course, I'm going to keep those. Not doing anything with singles today. Colored Rain palette. I'm sorry for the view here that my camera's set up. My camera's actually on my lap, so I'm sorry that I didn't get everything in view. But this palette is from Lancome. Please tell me I got this in view. Really pretty. I don't know if I've ever used it. And yeah, I've forgotten I have it. So I think that's an indication that I don't need it. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I've never tried any Lancome shadows before. And I guess I won't be trying any right now either. These are my Natasha Denona mini palettes. I have 3 of them. The mini gold palette, which is definitely my favorite of the 3. And the mini Zendo palette, also very pretty. And then the mini Love palette. And I didn't like this palette. The one shimmer is a topper shade. And yeah, so I'm getting rid of that one. And then I have these Urban Decay palettes. This is the electric palette. I bought this palette when they were getting rid of them. I got it from Nordstrom Rack, and I've never used it, but I think I'm going to keep it. I know I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to keep it. I wanted to try it and see what all the hype is about, and I haven't yet, but maybe, hopefully one day I will. And that's a Letho Cosmetics palette that I put together myself. And then another Urban Decay. This one is the Moondust palette. Got it from Nordstrom Rack as well. And yeah, really pretty, and haven't used it yet, but I'm going to keep it anyway because maybe one day I will. And then I have these Unique Beauty palettes that I got from England. And they're really pretty. I have 3 of them from different collections. And they're really pretty. I paid a lot of money for them too. But after using them, I mean, look at the color story. It's just gorgeous. The packaging is nice too. But I don't know. Did I use them all? The ones that I did use, I think I used them all. And this is the Bubble Time palette. So look at that. So pretty. But I just found the shimmers to just be really sparkly and just, I don't know, it was kind of messy. I didn't really enjoy using the palettes. That's gorgeous too. But look, just messy in the pan as well. And I just found myself not wanting to pick them up again after using them. And so for that reason, I'm going to have to let these go. And that's it for this drawer. On to the next. And this next drawer, turns out, are just palettes of eyeshadow singles. So all of these palettes are just my singles collection, and I'm not going to deal with that today. So yay! And that's the bottom drawer, nothing but miscellaneous stuff. So on to the next batch of palettes, and that's these palettes in these baskets and boxes here on the floor. These are like my baskets of shame. Some of those baskets, the big one on the left, I have used some palettes in there. That one to the right, the top upper right, is my basket of shame. I don't think I've used any of the palettes in that basket right there. So I'm going to go on ahead and go through these baskets right now. Starting off with the basket, or rather the box of shame. I haven't used any of the palettes in this box. So these are 3 of the Sweet Shop palettes that I picked up from TJ Maxx. These are from BH Cosmetics. This is the Cotton Candy palette. So you saw in the other drawer, I did use the pistachio and the bubblegum palette. And I have not yet used this one. I probably should have never bought this one, but I'm not ready to let it go yet. I do want to use it at least once before I decide to declutter it. This is the Sugar Cone palette. Okay, so I did use this palette once. It's the only one of the 3 in this box that I have used. And it's a nice neutral palette. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I don't think I'm going to use it again. I have these shades in other palettes, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter that one. And then this is the Orange Sorbet. And something about orange eyeshadows, I don't know. I feel like I don't have enough in my collection. I never do. So I'm going to hold on to this one because eventually I'm going to use it. That's the plan. Or if not, I don't know. I just like having it in my collection, a bunch of orange shadows. And now back to the box. This is an old Dior palette that I was given as a gift many years ago, very, very early in my makeup journey. I didn't know what I was doing with makeup then. I didn't even really use it back then, but I want to hold on to this. It's really pretty, and now that I know what I'm doing, I want to put that to use. And then these are some Viseart palettes that I purchased and during sales, and just still have not gotten around to any of them. This is definitely a box of shame. Please don't judge me too harshly. That one is just beautiful, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. This is the Platinum Cutie palette from Nabla, the only palette I've ever purchased from Nabla. I've had this for so long and have yet to use it, so it's time to get rid of it. Another one from BH Cosmetics, the Absinthe palette. And yeah, I'm going to hold on to it. Something about these blue-green shadows I really like, so I'm going to keep that one. This is from Dose of Colors, the Cutting Edge, I think, that I got from Beauty Bay. One of these shadows, the metallic came shattered. Hello. And still haven't used it. And I should probably declutter it, because if I haven't used it by now, I'm probably not going to. But it's got greens in it. It's grungy. It's got that orange. And yeah, so I'm going to hold on to it a little bit longer and see if I get around to ever using it. And then this is the last of the Glam Shop palettes. This is of all the ones that you saw, of the 4, this is the one I haven't used, and I'm not interested in the color story. And after using the other 3 that I didn't enjoy using, I don't think I'm going to enjoy using this one either. So I don't even think I'm going to be bothered with this one. I think I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm sure the shimmers are probably beautiful, but the color story doesn't interest me. And yeah, I'm just not interested in this one. I did go ahead and swatch it just to see, to make up my mind. And yeah, that swatch sold it for me. Like, no, this one I will let go. Hopefully I can pass it on to someone who will use it. And then this is the Vibes palette from, the Bright Vibes palette from Violet Voss. I used it one time and I didn't like it. I love the look of it, and I love the thought of having a really bright rainbow palette in my collection. But I don't know, I didn't really care for that one. I only used it the one time. It's in this box because I wanted to use it again. This one is from Lorella Cosmetics, the Electric City palette. Another bright palette that I have never used. So I don't feel like I need both of these palettes. Actually, I think I used one shadow from the Electric City palette. And I don't feel like I need both of these in my collection. So I think I'm going to keep the Lorella palette. I'll keep this one, and since I haven't really used it before, and then I'll get rid of the Violet Voss palette since they're very similar, and I did use this one and I didn't like it. Now the black box is a blush from NARS that I haven't used, and the Climax palette here in the red box that I've never used, still haven't used. And then this is another palette from Viseart that I haven't used. The Blowing Smoke palette from ColourPop that I lusted after and wanted for so long and still haven't used. But I'm going to keep it. And then my Razzle Dazzle palette from, what is this, Too Faced? Still haven't used that one either. But I'm going to keep it, and it smells so good. And then I have these 3 Odin's Eye palettes, the collection that they did with 3 different influencers. And I've only used the one palette, the more neutral palette, the Hummingbird palette. I should probably get rid of this palette, but I haven't used it yet, and I'm not ready to, so I'm going to hang on to it. And I think we are done with this box. So from this box, I'm decluttering 4 palettes. Not bad. Now this is a basket of palettes that I pulled for my last video. So this is from Pat McGrath. That's the Celestial Nirvana palette. The Oma Beauty Freedom palette. And I won't be getting rid of any of those palettes. The Pickle palette from Sugar Drizzle. Also from Sugar Drizzle, the Dragonfly Warrior palette. Not getting rid of any of those. And the ABH, the Nouveau palette. Definitely not getting rid of that one. And then the Rusted Essence palette from Notoriously Morbid. The first time I ever used any of their eyeshadows. I like the color story, but I really hated the formula. I used it one time and that was more than enough. I won't be using it again, so I will be decluttering it. And I probably won't purchase any more palettes from them. And now the final basket from the floor. I don't know why I zoomed in so close. I'm sorry. But this is the Natasha Denona Retro Glam palette. You see it's still in the box because I haven't used it yet. And the Martine Cosmetics XXX palette. Have not used that one yet. And then the Ulta Beauty palette, the Valkyrie palette. Yeah, I should probably get rid of it, but I haven't used it yet, so I'm going to hold on to it. And then this is from Nomad Cosmetics. Just picked up that quad. Really like it. We'll be keeping that. The Emerald Way palette from ColourPop. Haven't used it yet. It's really pretty. Going to keep it. The Michaela Pot 2, the mini palette. I got to use it again. I used it once and it was okay. So I got to use it again before I can decide what I'm going to do with it. This is the Nomad Cosmetics America's Parks palette. I really like that one, so I will be keeping it. And then the Limelight palette from ColourPop and the Wealthy Chic palette from Colored Rain. Haven't used those. We'll be keeping them. Another palette from Colored Rain. We'll be keeping that one. And the Mountain Trail palette from Sydney Grace. I did use this one. It's really nice green / neutral palette. We'll be holding on to that. I love the Sydney Grace eyeshadow formula. This is the Saints, Sinners, and Angels, or Angels, Saints, and Sinners palette. The Smink palette, I like that one. I'll be keeping it. Lucid Dreams from Pink Crush. Haven't tried it yet. We'll be keeping that. And the Oma Beauty Carnival palette. Haven't tried that yet either, so hanging on to it. And the Oceanic palette, the new formula that I repurchased, I haven't used yet. And then the Tropical Vibes, also from Ace Beauté. And I like this palette. Can't wait to get into it again. I've only used it once. But yeah, so of course I'll be keeping that one. And then the Glam Light palette. Oh, wait. First we have the Lethal Cosmetics Julina palette that I was just given from my friend Dion. So I haven't gotten into that one yet, but hoping to do so soon. And then last but not least, these two Glam Light Michaela palettes. This is the Pot 2, and yeah, this one is so gorgeous. I mean, oh my goodness, look at those jewel tones. I did use that once, and yeah, it's just really beautiful. That is right up my alley. And this is the original, the first one they did with Michaela. And I used it once and I like it. I like the color story, but after using it the one time, I just never reached for it again. I don't know why. And I don't feel like I need both of these palettes. So I'm going to declutter this one. As pretty as it is. I like those bottom two rows right there, but I don't feel like I need both of these palettes. So I am going to let this one go, and then I'm going to keep the Pot 2. And then lastly, I have palettes on top of my desk, and these are palettes that either I want to have them in my eyesight so that I remember them and I'm more apt to use them if I can see them, or palettes that I do use on a regular basis, so I want them within arm's reach because I do reach for them quite frequently. So this box has a lot of those palettes in it. I have my my Blend Bunny palettes that I reach for a lot. And I have my my Beauty Bay palettes here in the front that I would like to use more often. This is my ColourPop Stone Cold palette, which I reach for anytime I need a cool tone neutral. That's my Pimby pastel palette. Those are my Pink Crush palettes. And of course my Danessa Myricks, the Lightwork 4 and the Lightwork 3. So yeah, finally, these are all the spaces where I keep my palettes. Oh yeah, and this Juvia's Place Earth palette that I use with every eyeshadow look, the Nomad Cosmetics Hudson Valley palette, and the Cosmic Brushes Serenity palette. So these are all the palettes and where I keep them. So let's see how many I actually decluttered. I am decluttering a total of, drum roll please, 68 palettes from my collection. That's amazing. Let me know in the comments below if you think it's worth me opening up a Mercari to sell some of these items, or if I should just not bother and just donate and give them to friends that may want them. If you're still here, thank you. You're the real MVP. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.